only. I traded my account, and everything I do is hypothetical in nature because it doesn't happen in your account. My experience with trading is not typical, nor does it guarantee that similar results will be obtained by you. I am merely sharing my opinion with no guarantee of gains or losses in investments. Remember, day trading can be extremely risky. You should be prepared to lose all the funds that you use for day trading. In particular, you should not fund day trading activities with retirement savings, student loans, second mortgages, emergency funds, funds set aside for purposes such as education or home ownership, or funds required to meet your living expenses. Further, certain evidence indicates that investments less than $50,000 will significantly impair the ability of a day trader to make a profit. Of course, an investment of $50,000 or more will no way guarantee a success. With that out of the way, let's get into the content. Good morning. All right, guys, so I don't see anything out there for now. Nothing that even looks even kind of tradable. I'm gonna look for some type of continuation from yesterday for SHPH and tops.
I was trying to steal a ticker from Steven. Yeah, but it didn't look like there's much. All right, so oh my God, am I the first one? Yeah, you are. All right, good morning, everybody. I don't know if you traded yesterday, but hopefully you stayed safe, because there wasn't much to trade yesterday. But some people, they spend a lot of money on borrow fees and they end up taking like 10% worth of their normal position anyway. In my case, I just stayed disciplined, kept my PDT redeemable attempt to myself. There's absolutely nothing out there. The market is dead. I want to go back to bed. And then this cat keeps scratching the door because he wants to come in. But I have to break this habit of him jumping everywhere. All right, so let's talk about SHBH and top. But first, let's look at the top play VVNT. This is the one at the top of my top gainers across all scanners. So let's see if this is something or if it can become something. Overall, like, it's not a consistent chart, so the resistance isn't below it. And when it comes to the resistance above it, there isn't very many layers of resistance above yesterday's close. I don't like that. When we just look at the volume in general, most of them are below 3 million, but they kind of look above 250,000, which is good for resistance below the previous day's close. But it didn't look like we gapped through anything to cause a gap up short. So there is that dollar ticker that's up like 70, it's up 50%, but it's up $1. So yeah, but just let that be great. Not gonna touch it. Now, there may be another stock from the Chinese sector, or from China, that'll pop up later. Hopefully it's another pump and dump, and then we could just ride that pump and dump. I just saw ANGH. This just popped up, and it looks like it's gathering a little bit of volume. When I say a little bit, I mean it's under 1 million. But at least it's trying. The day is long. We got a whole 35 minutes before the market opens. Doesn't look good. Let me look at the overnight. Maybe I'm missing something. Okay, so this gap kind of looks suspicious. Kind of looks like they're doing a buyout. Suspicious gap. All right, let's see what that news was. Yep, they're doing a buyout. They're being bought by NRG Energy. All right, so with buyouts, there isn't usually an edge on that. They usually just gap up the stock and keep it at that price for a while until everyone in the buyout that gets like removed or they need to pay. They gap up the stock high enough to bring in a little traffic, and then they just pay off everybody that needs to be paid. So we're gonna let VVNT do its own thing. We're gonna be stuck with maybe Tops. So let's see what Tops is up to. It had an offering over the weekend and closed pretty weak on Friday. And then we saw it open up in the pre-market at the base of the start of the multi-day run. And ever since then, it found support and it's been recovering. Now, it finished relatively strong, or at least up on the day Monday. And since it found such a solid support, I figured maybe this could potentially do a gap up. Or at least attempt another run. So this closed around like 210 yesterday. If this did do a gap up, there's several layers of resistance up there now. And the minimum I'd be looking for is somewhere close to 4. But for it to get to 4 from 2, you'd have to go up 100%. So unless this gapped up 100%, and I'd want it to happen at least in a day, it wouldn't be the bounce short that you're looking for. Okay. Let's go to SHPH. So with this one, this had 2 green days in a row, and it's kind of a recent IPO because it's within 3 months when it first IPO'd in August. And you know, back then it was a stock that went up from 100 all the way down to $10, and then it popped back up. Now when it did its bounce, it's more of a rebound. The bounce is off the resistance. Rebound, you could do that off the support. But after it did like a rebound, it then went all the way back up to 50. That rebound only took the initial plummet day and then 2 to 3 green days where it stayed up there. I figured we'd have another 3rd green day, and then it'd struggle again for an extra day, and then we'd fall right back to where we started. Just pretty much copying the day after it bounced last time. Like it kept its gains for a while before it attempted another drop. But in that case, it went up like 300%. But for now, we went from $1.50 up to max like $3.20. So that's double. So having a leg up, I figured it'd be possible. And now I still kind of think it's possible, even though in the pre-market right now, we only have $250,000 worth of volume. But the way I'm gonna take this is we are top heavy on SHPH, and it is below the consolidation from yesterday. And just in general, this is increasing volume, and yesterday had a 32 million day, and we have a 250,000 volume pre-market now. So if we multiply that by 10 to give us the daily estimate, yeah, we're that 2 million is definitely less than the 32 million. And so we could see like a drop right out of the open, but because there's always a but, if this can get like 2 to 3 million before the market opens, like in the next 27 minutes, maybe we'll just have low liquidity in the stock, and this would do like a tiny dip, and people will see that there's no other plays in the market, and they'll just try to go for their familiar tickers. And SHPH being a recent IPO that people probably made money from, that $100 to $10 plummet, or it's not a pullback, it's more of a panic, and then the bounce short after the panic. People might remember this ticker, and then they'll spike it. And what happens is I'm going for more of a chain effect. So for me to think this has enough volume to actually catch and build in the morning, and capitalize on the first rush hour and the second rush hour, I'm thinking about like 2-3 million, and we're nowhere near that right now. So the alternative is pretty much just bouncing it off about 20 million resistance that was formed yesterday. Between 290 and 315, and right now we're at 270. So, you know, if this hits a solid 3 when it pushes, and it pushes on, let's say, under 1 billion volume, we could just do a small fade. But the downside to that is that it could easily fall on the support from the first day, which, you know, we did have like 3 hours at least. On an 18 million volume day. So I'm gonna assume that it's about 10 million support versus like 20 million resistance, within about $1. And it's also a $2 stock. So we have conflicting factors. It looks like nothing special right now. I mostly was really hoping for that third green day, because the only thing it had to go against was, if you look in the past, there's a 6 million resistance, and it looks like it bounced off of that, with the high of this being $4. It failed a test of a spike yesterday at 340, which is slightly below that 6 million resistance, the individual resistance. And above that, there's another 4, which we talked about it before. That's the minimum I'd consider an individual resistance. That one's also at 4. So they pretty much stack together. And that's before we even get close to the one that's at like 15 and the stuff like that, all at 8 and above. So since there's layers of resistance above, we need a pretty decent amount of liquidity to beat yesterday's volume and clearly break those levels of, or layers of resistance. So at the end of the day, there's nothing going on right now. the chances of there going on or being or likely being something going on at SHBH are very low. Yeah, all the volume's gone. We're dried up. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Everybody else talk. Good morning. My water's too hot to drink, but it's perfect to hold. Check out BNGO. So since I haven't taken a trade in a while, I was trying to work on like my trader psychology, because last time, or not exactly last time, but in my last year, whenever I would go on a frenzy, like a trading frenzy, I'd be trading everything, non-ideal, ideal, a little bit of options on the side, you know, chasing things that Steven would chase, chasing things that Steven would test, a little bit of everything. In between those, if I took like a big loss or went on a streak, I would fight myself through most of the day not to trade non-ideal setup. And that would give me a certain hesitation in my trade. Like I'd have to justify going in, or I'd have to spend most of the time just like holding myself back until the point where I just numb myself to the whole situation instead of actually doing it based off of what I see in the stock. So the main thing is I'm trying to bring up is when you don't see an actual trade and you trade on that day, the cost of that is your discipline. And if you don't have your discipline, you're going to lose out on a lot of things. And that's pretty much like the mental muscle memory that lays a part of the foundation for your confidence. And then the other part of that is keeping good data record. And discipline helps you apply the results of those data records, you know, a little more confidently. If you're shorting, all you have to do is just wait. And you can wait at higher levels for longer times through rougher spikes when you're not swinging as much in your emotion. Because what happens is at the end of the day, there's like a vibe, and then there's energy. You're going to drain your energy looking at a stock that makes you feel uncomfortable. So you need to do everything you can to feel comfortable while, looking for an opportunity. None of the stuff we've had so far has like an opportunity. And so what I put up there is the stuff that fits the technical analysis. But for the most part, they'll drain your energy and confidence in the long run. So I'm explaining slash giving an excuse why I'm not touching any of these tickers. In the meantime, I just like to study on the side and try to get other stuff organized. So I don't know what's going to happen in the overall market for now, but I do know after China opened up, it's going to open up slowly. And when that happens, not only will like the cases probably go up for COVID, all the industries are going to slowly get back into like the swing of things. Because what happened is they used all their reserve money to pay for all the tests. Now they're out of money and they need to get back into the economy to make more money. At the end of the day, the CPI is coming up in about, it's on the 15th, so about a week and a half. I think it's the 15th. I'm just going to play off of if we actually do the 75 points basic hike or the 50 points basic hike, because we need some type of macro, bigger time frame, larger, broader market to wake up the penny stock, because we're asleep right now. And yeah, I need some range. I need some volume. Oh, wrong one. Reset. We were looking at the employment numbers. And all the major companies, like most of them were giving, or most of them were taking 10,000 employees away from each of their companies. And then what they'll do is they'll raise their payment, and then they'll raise their prices. So it kind of evens out. Like they cut a lot of people. All right, so I have the CPI coming out on December 13th. Jamie Dimon. All right. Looks like going to be a slow day. Like if I was looking at Tesla and SPY moving in my watch list, I legit would have thought my screen was frozen. Like nothing's getting volume. Yeah, there's not much going on today. I just saw Steven mention it. But something may pop up later. And when I say later, I mean like closer to 1 p.m. Let's look at some of the last trade reviews I've done. Just pretty much reviewing the month. So we had DBGI. We had a bounce short on that. That was a week ago on the 29th. It was a micro float, multi-day bounce short. It had 120 resistance, 120 million. And the volume estimate in the morning was less than 30%. So the ratio was closer to about 1 to 10 when you compare the previous resistance to the current day volume. And so I'm pretty sure a lot of people took a short on DBGI last week. On the second day, it gapped down and pretty much wiped all its gains. Before that, we did see a grinder and a few downtrending bleeding plays. So GRND. We had KTRA and SATX. Those pretty much they were following the Fed speech towards the middle of last week, and they created a double top, and we were playing off the continuation from those double tops. And they took opposite direction. Yeah, so that's been the only thing going on for about a week. There are little things in between, like it's something you can gamble on, but out of 10 times, I'd barely do it once and feel good about it. So not worth mentioning. Was XPEV. Yeah, that was one of the ones I was talking about. And was XPEV and Bill worth the chase yesterday at the open? Ideal or not? Not. Thanks. Hopefully we get a rally in January. Yeah. The January effect always says that, you know, during Christmas, everyone's doing taxes and pretending to do like certain schemes. And at the end of the day, at the end of it all, towards Christmas and winter season, there's supposed to be a drop in the stock. And then January is when the magic fairy dust brings the market back, or the Fed, who knows. This is under the assumption that the entire market is rigged, and everything's just planned out. Now, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, XPEV. Since someone asked about it, I'll go back over. I don't know if I did yesterday. I'm going to 2-month, 15-minute chart, and I'm looking for the momentum on it. So these have pretty high volume days. And there's tickers like that where they just naturally have more volume. So this was a $1 billion cap from New York Stock Exchange. And you know, it's up in the double digits. So when we see that it has a relatively low institutional ownership, we think, okay, when it drops, it could drop pretty fast. But because it has such a high float and market cap, and it's also a New York Stock Exchange, in the most recent news, wasn't anything like obvious to make it go up like 100+% in like one day, not over like a few days. I don't think there was a lot of edge to it for the short side, because this did come from 7 about 4 days ago. But the thing is, we want range created in a short amount of time. If we're looking on a multi-day run, we want to be bouncing off like resistance, or it has the fundamentals in the market cap and float to the point where there's going to be some type of inefficiency, or something's supposed to bring the stock down. So we can play off the technical price action, or we could wait for a news to bring the stock down. And so one's more of like a windfall profit, where you're pretty much banking on the idea of a random one-time event to bring down the stock, and you're just trying to put yourself in the best position with like leverage profit, most likely, and capitalize if there is an offering, if there is some type of event somewhere else that affects the stock. But for right now, China opening up, and this being a Chinese stock on the New York Stock Exchange, everything is going to be like a slow opening, just like the Chinese economy. So we might not see anything now, but it might be something towards like Thursday. And when we're looking at these large cap tickers, we know they go up a little slower. When it comes to like the patterns and development, just going to be naturally slower. Looking at XPEV, this being a downtrending chart for a while, even when it does do its bounces, these bounces are like 10-20%. And people like to short anything in 20% intervals. The max we got was from 7 all the way up to 10. Pretty much a $2 jump on each one of those. We can't do much with that. So if we just look at it from, 7 to almost 13, that's about 100% extension. But if you look at the 9, which is a whole day that just went sideways, that just became the neutralized resistance. slash the support that this is going to go for if this does crack. Now we did have just a straight dump yesterday, and usually when you see a day that goes like sideways like that, and you're expecting this to just be a pause day or a skip day inside of the multi-day run, which is possible because when you have those slightly red, slightly green days, they still keep the momentum in the stock, and then that can be carried into the next day. This one got killed yesterday morning, so all hope of that just killed the momentum in the overall stock. Now, we did have a slight gap up yesterday, like overnight, but there's no overhead resistance to like bounce it off of. So if this actually does go back up, first it has to break past almost 13, like 12.8. And the amount of volume on this right now, like in the pre-market, probably isn't even anywhere close to that, especially considering the size of the market cap. Yeah, see, we're only at 1.7 million in the pre-market. Howdy. Good morning. Hey, Ben. So I asked Steven, and my face still hurts. CEI is not a play. That's all you need to know. XPEV, they erased yesterday. Look at open to last green day close. It opened. But yeah, this is the last green. Yeah, this was a weekend, so it's natural to see that kind of gap. Because stocks, they still do stuff over the weekend.
Market is open.
Oh, market up. Yeah, but I agree. Yesterday was pretty much erasing a lot of the range that was generated on the stick. Now, when it comes to these like large panics, they have volume, and sections of this panic candle can probably be used as a resistance. And so we did gap up yesterday. This does have like 1.7 million volume. That's a low amount of liquidity. We just opened. And this is really close to its previous day support. If this does bounce up and bounces off of like 12, 13, that's a really tight area for risk. So I definitely see like this bouncing from like 11, 20 all the way up to 13, and maybe you could do a small short off of that, pretty much aiming for $10, going from 13 to 10. That's the only thing I could see for now. Anything else outside of that is going to be the extension of the trend, which can't tell if this pulled back 20%. Pretty close. Yeah, so it should still have strength, but the thing is, the next test is what's real important. Like 13. Yeah, about 13. It's actually closer to like 12.8. It all depends on how it reacts at that point, because there's not much up there to bring this down. Like you have no sideways consolidation forming a resistance. It's more of like the high of days and then this pre-market resistance, which, you know, we're pretty much risking one day's high a day and then the next day's open. Now it just went from 1.7 in the pre-market to 5 in less than 3 minutes. So that's a lot of liquidity in that first 5 minutes coming into the stock. Now if it rolls into the stock too fast, it usually falls on itself, and it doesn't have very much room to fall. So I'm gonna just see how that develops, and I'll come back to it at 10. Because at the end of the day, not only is it a stock from China, which, you know, has the wind behind his back right now, and it's a double-digit ticker. Like, there's just so many conflicting factors about it. It's a lot simpler if it was just more about this particular stock news. And overall, since it's automatic, what do you call those? Auto manufacturing. We're talking about cars. So this is playing off of Tesla's production in China. Because their earnings were last week and they were positive. So that gap, yeah, so the run was caused by positive earning. Got it. I'll buy more. You on Instagram, bro? I don't usually use social media. But I am. I think I have a wig or something. Yeah, I am. I don't know if it's in the description. I'll go to. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's in the description under my link tree. Was that? I know the name is Shane. He likes to message me on Twitter. Overall, there's no play right now. Just a lot of sadness. Not for me, like just from all the news in general. I saw someone took a picture of Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend in New York, who's supposed to be in custody in Hong Kong. So that's a problem for people that lost money. But we know all those people are on one side, so nothing's probably going to happen to them. Bullard. Isn't that one of the Fed people? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the one that looks the highest out of the Fed members. They said he's long cannabis. Hilarious. Okay, BlackRock's Jamie Dimon just came out. Or no, JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon just came out and said a recession could hit next year. Yo, I'm long off that VWAP. Take back. Yeah, take it back. Yeah, never happened. I've always noticed what we want never happened, so we can trade against what we want with high probability. LOL. Yep, the whole thing is anti-human. The whole market, all of it. Everybody looks at it, and then we agree that it's going to go up, then it goes down. It's planned. Hey, it looks like we have something that popped up, but still doesn't look like anything special. But just in case, because sometimes we do have those comeback tickets. I'm gonna check it out. It'd be faster on my laptop. The cat is mad and he wants to come in. All right, so SIG. Are you stalking my page? Yeah, everybody was jacking the day. Isn't that what happens? You got a lot of energy. You're gonna burn off the fat. You know, for my senior superlative, they gave me a mirror because I was always you know, just working on some type of muscle. But I was doing it for a sport. Everybody thought everyone took the most positive view of it. they're just like, this man isn't narcissistic. He's just giving everyone an example of like how you should like be. And I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. And they gave me a senior superlative of a mirror, because I was the skinniest lineman, and since I did like a lot of sports, I was always in season. And so you'd see my body go from like 160 to like upper 180, and always have abs. And I'm just like, yeah, wrestling you in the winter, then I'm playing bowling, and then I run the rest of the year, then I go to football, then like, yeah, it's always doing something. Even sometimes it'll be like 2 at a time. Like I'll do one, and then I'll go like play chess. Then after a chess match, go straight to a different practice. Back then, my motto was, anything I wanted done in life, I can get it done in 2 weeks. Or like take a what do you call that? Affirmative action. Other than that, I just overall, I thought differently about failure. Like it was more of a fall forward process. Since I tend to have perfectionism kind of traits, I had to pretty much just take the initiative before fear like settled in. And you can't do that very much in trading, because if you do, you give yourself bad habits. So if you do it, you gotta do it with moderation. All right, so sumo, it just went from 250,000 to 1 million volume. That's not anything special, but just in case, I'm gonna see if this has potential, or at least like a resistance in its history. Kind of stock is technology. Okay, so it's another larger cap. So we're dealing with the NASDAQ, which is mostly based off of technology stock. I don't see anything potential, or I don't see any potential in this. And now my other computer just blew up. Don't you just hate when you just see a blue screen pop up on your peripheral? And now a black screen? I'll let that be great. I'll handle that later. Good. Ha ha ha. That's awesome. LOL, you know what they say. You need to have optimal health for optimal performance. Yeah. Well, the people on the opposite side of that, or the devil's advocate, they'll say a lot of people have done it for with less. I recently started jujitsu and hitting the gym, but balancing with time to study has been tough. Yeah, that's one of Steven's thing. He likes to go to the gym, but he's tired because he's the type of person, like when he does something, he likes to do it like his best. And if he gets in the gym at the wrong time, let's say if you try to do it early, and then he traded in the morning, saw nothing was there, did an early gym session, he'll come back, he misses the the afternoon. So the main thing is finding the balance between how can you keep your optimal maintenance for optimal health, so you can perform the optimal performance in the stock. And usually that involves people going on a walk, doing yoga, doing light stretches, but mostly just going on a walk and eating right. In my case, I'm doing intermediate fasting up to 2 o'clock every day. And the thing is, I do give myself wiggle room, like one cheat day a week, and just lots of water. But just going back on some of my streams, I could just see how ashy my lips are getting from not drinking water. So I'm definitely using this hot water to my advantage. Because remember, the way my fear of failure works, or my fear of rejection, criticism, and like all those other negative thoughts, I usually just rush into something before like that settles in, because I know I get stuck in the loop. And I could do the same thing with my eating. So I try to practice some kind of mindfulness with that, and that's going to help you in your trading. Like most of the self-help, giving any kind of effort can translate to your trade. And the opposite side of that, chaos in your life, can go into your trade. But at the base of it all, you have to have a play in the market to actually trade well. All right, guys. I see a lot of stuff popping up, but nothing looks tradable. So I'm about to peace out. And my computer's talking to me now. My hands are right here. You saw it. I don't know if you hear it though. I have one of those. I don't know the exact name for it, but it blocks out the background noise. LOL, water was a minimum. Yeah. Yeah, there's a study which states after a long study session, whether walking creates some kind of sponge in your brain and allows you to retain more information than doing otherwise. I like that study. All right, guys. I'm heading out. And by that, I'm going to make a 2-minute goodbye. Nah, not really. Bye.